Welcome back to Homeschool for the Soul. In today's episode, we are going to wrap up our week-long series on what it means that although the doors of the church have been closed, the church is very much still open, has been open, and in fact, ministry has still been taking place. Over this last week, some of our pastoral staff sat down with and asked some questions, had some conversations with some local parachurch ministry organizations that are doing incredible things. They have serving opportunities that you can get involved with. Maybe you have been involved with. We wanted to share with you some of the things that they are doing and how you very much have been the church in this season. During this time, many children and families, in fact, have faced economic situations like they've never seen. The demand at food banks has been greater than anyone could have predicted. And yet, food banks are open and there are amazing volunteers that show up every day to pack boxes, to share the resources that those food banks have with the people that are visiting them. Kids and families may not have enough food because we are living through a pandemic that has affected us all. So then let's consider this. What can you do to be the good? Later in the week, we sat down with an organization called Freedom 424 that will host a virtual run walk event that used to be an in-person event, but it is a fundraiser that highlights the industry that we need to rescue women and children from, and that is sex trafficking. That is still a very real problem that is going on in the world that we need to do something. We need to step up and rescue people from. And this organization is doing incredible work. So let's consider this. In the midst of a crisis, what can we do to be the good in the consideration of that? There are kids around the world that were already living below the poverty line. Kids that were living in countries near and far from our own, and they are losing the opportunity to get an education and have good nutrition and medical care. But they also need the power of Jesus in their life, and they need your help. And some of you have showed up to sign up for sponsorships through Compassionate International. We are so thankful that you showed up and asked, what can I do to be the good? This week, businesses and churches and recreation options are opening, and everyone has different opinions on that. Different opinions, but also we have anxiety and worry. And so we need to ask ourselves in the midst of that, what can we do to be the good? And no matter what our newspaper headlines and social media feeds are making us feel, what can you do to be the good? God has been on the move, friends. You have been the church, and you still get to be the church. Perhaps you haven't been part of the ministries that we talked about today or interviewed this week, but you have and can be rest assured. You have shown up in the ways that you prepared meals at your home for 70 days straight. You bought gift cards for essential workers. You made a grocery store run for your neighbor. You went to the pharmacy when somebody was not able to go out and do that for themselves. You pivoted to celebrate fun things like birthdays and milestones like weddings and graduations. And those celebrations happen despite the restrictions on gatherings that we've all been facing. Let's continue in this next season to find the ways together that we can show up and do the good. You are the church. Let's remember that the doors have been open. Let's continue to walk together and do good things in Jesus' name. I'm praying for you and cheering for you. Thanks for spending some time with us today.